Secretary Scott Bessent. Thanks for joining us this morning, Mr. Secretary. We appreciate it. Let's start with the polls. For the very first time, the president's polling numbers on the economy are underwater, with 53% saying it has gotten worse under President Trump, with 72% of those in our poll saying it is very or somewhat likely that his economic policies will cause a recession. Your reaction?
Oh, well, Martha, I haven't seen the polls, and for the past 35 years, my business was analyzing data, so I think we probably got to dig down in those. But what I do know is that Americans are behaving very different than what the surveys say. So the surveys may say that, but consumers are still spending. So I prefer to look at what Americans are doing rather than how they're answering pollsters.
And it doesn't worry you, the poll numbers that you have seen?
When I start seeing data to the contrary, then we can look at that. But, again, these poll numbers, and also, when I look at some of the things that are being published, there was a story 10 days ago that said this is the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. 10 days later, the NASDAQ is now up in the month of April, and I haven't seen a story that says, oh, stock market has biggest bounce back ever. So I think
it certainly has gone back and forth.
I think a lot of this is media driven.
Let's talk about the Time interview with President Trump. He said that he has made 200 deals on tariffs. 200 deals? Who has he made deals with? Is there actually any deal at this point?
I believe that he is referring to sub-deals within the negotiations we're doing. And, Martha, if there are 180...
But those aren't actual deals.
Martha, if there are 180 countries, there are 18 important trading partners. Let's put China to the side because that's a special negotiation. There's 17 important trading partners, and we have a process in place over the next 90 days to negotiate with them. Some of those are moving along very well, especially with the Asian countries.
And President Trump's strategy really has been to announce these tariffs, then dial some back, pause them, make exceptions. Explain why you see this as a good negotiating strategy.
Well, in game theory, it's called strategic uncertainty. So you're not going to tell the person on the other side of the negotiation where you're going to end up. And nobody's better at creating this leverage than President Trump. He's shown the high tariffs, and it's here's the stick. This is where the tariffs can go, and the carrot is come to us, take off your tariffs, take off your non-tariff trade barriers, stop manipulating your currency, stop subsidizing labor and capital, and then we can talk. But I tell you, Martha, that we've had several of these Asian countries that come in and said, oh, well, we'll stop doing this, this, and this. And I look at these lists, and I think, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because this trading system has been so unfair. And as President Trump says, I don't blame the countries. I blame the previous administrations that let them get away with it.
But Mr. Secretary, look at what you just heard from Barton O'Brien there. The administration says it's worried about Main Street, not Wall Street. But you heard that small businessman saying his inventory in China might as well be lit on fire because already what has happened and the concern about what's happening next. How do they plan for things if they don't know what's going to happen?
Well, what they know is that the China tariffs are unsustainable because the Chinese cannot sustain this, that if the business people like the gentleman you interviewed, stop ordering, China has no business model. Their business model is predicated on selling cheap, subsidized goods to the U.S. And if there is a sudden stop in that, they will have a sudden stop in the economy, so they will negotiate.
Well, look, some of the leaders of the big box stores, Walmart, Target, delivered a warning to President Trump that some of the shelves could be empty within a matter of weeks. I know you're looking forward, but this is a concern right now.
And that's why we are negotiating these deals, and we're moving they afford with this. And again, as the gentleman in Annapolis said, Martha, the goal is not to manufacture dog collars again in the U.S., that the president is looking forward to the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past. The goal is to bring back high-performance manufacturing jobs or create high-performance manufacturing jobs. Right now,
how long does that take? I mean, that is such a concern. How long does it take to bring that to the U.S.?
Well,
is there a plan?
Of course, but it's a process. Right now, the U.S. has a barbell economy. We have a very advanced financial system. We have a the exploration and development that is the envy in the world. On the other side, we are a natural resource economy led by energy, which the previous administration tried to stifle. And in between is where working class Americans have lost out. And we want to bring back these manufacturing jobs or create these manufacturing jobs of the future. And we are meeting with companies that want to do this every day.
And this is that moment of pain or that transition with pain. But again, how long does that last? Is there anything you can say about that? How fast you can bring these manufacturing?
Well, look, Martha, it's a reallocation because what we are doing, the federal government is shedding labor. We're trying to get the private sector to pick that up. But we have a very low unemployment rate. It's not like we have to create jobs. What we need to create are good-paying jobs with fair trade. That is what the president's doing.
Let's talk about China. President Trump again said he's spoken to President Xi of China and negotiations are ongoing. But China has firmly denied this, saying that China and the U.S. have not consulted or negotiated on the tariff issue. So are negotiations actually happening? Who is talking?
Look, this was IMF World Bank Week. The NDC, as you know, and I had interaction with my Chinese counterparts, but it was more on the traditional things like financial stability, global economic early warnings. I don't know if President Trump has spoken with President Xi. I know they have a very good relationship and a lot of respect for each other. But again, I think that the Chinese will see that this high tariff level is unsustainable for their business model.
Why would they deny that the negotiations are going on?
Well, I think they're playing to a different audience.
So they're actually going on. There's actually things happening that the Chinese are just denying, but it's not true.
That we have a process in place. And again, I just believe these Chinese tariffs are unsustainable.
Okay, according to Bloomberg, you said...
Because of the Chinese business model.
According to Bloomberg, you said recently that a comprehensive deal between the U.S. and China could happen in 2 to 3 years. Trump said a deal will come quickly. You've heard him say that. You said it, obviously it was going to be a slog. So how long do you think?
Well, look, I think that there is a path here. So the first path will be, again, a de-escalation, which I think the Chinese are going to have. Then I think there can be an agreement. In principle, these 17 or 18 important trade deals that we're negotiating, the actual papering of the trade deal, a trade deal can take months, but an agreement in principle and the good behavior and staying within the parameter of the deal by our trading partners can keep the tariffs from ratcheting back to the maximum level. Sure.
And it's very rare, I think it happened a couple of times in the 70s, for the dollars, stocks, and bonds to get hit as hard as they simultaneously did over the last few weeks. If the goal is to get countries to stand with us against China, does it worry you at all that investors seem to be losing confidence in the U.S.?
Well, again, you're saying losing confidence, and I don't think that this is necessarily losing confidence. And anything, I've been in the markets for 35, 40 years, anything that happens over a 2-week, 1-month window can be either statistical noise or market noise. And we're in this for the long term, and the important thing is that we are setting the fundamentals for a strong dollar, a strong economy, strong stock market, and for investors to know that the U.S. government bond market is the safest and soundest in the world.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Secretary. We turn now to what could be a dramatic